Welcome to Optimal Timelines. My name is Sean, and this is going to be your September 2025 tarot readings for your North Node by sign and house for the first half of September. Now, if you're new to my channel, the reason I use the North Node in tarot readings, as opposed to your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant sign, is that it's recognized in astrology your North Node is your North Star. It's what you're here to learn, accomplish, and master in this lifetime. So it's much more relevant to your everyday life, and it's much more accurate in tarot readings as opposed to your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant sign. Now, this month of September is going to be very transformative because we're in eclipse season, and the eclipses happen on the nodal points, the North and the South Node. So it's a very transformative time. Now, they're going to affect each of us differently, obviously, depending on our chart, but the overall themes that I'm really feeling for this month for all of us have to do with perspective and also balance. On the perspective, we're looking at Pisces and Virgo, okay? The two polar opposite signs that are connected. When we look at the perspective in our life, do we need to focus more and focus more on the details of our life? Or do we need to step back, Pisces, and kind of look at the bigger picture and the overall kind of where we're going in our life? Do we need to adjust our focus in some way, okay? The other thing that I'm feeling for this month is the balance part. And the balance part is, where do we need to be more practical and proactive in our life as opposed to being more intuitive? Pisces, again, opening up ourselves to our, inner self and our spirituality. So these are some of the themes that could be playing out in our lives, and each of us have to kind of see where it is we need to find that balance. With that, I'm going to connect to the energies and we can begin the readings. I call upon my spirit guides, guardians, and the wisdom of my ancestors to bring forth the information that's true and correct for all who see and hear these readings, that it may bring them the most beautiful, happy life possible, and set them on their most optimal future timeline. So may it be. Okay, North Node in Aries and or the first house. Okay, very interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you for the first half of September is the Emperor card reversed. No, this is a card of our, personal power. It's a card of our inner authority and also those that are in outer authority in our life. And so this can refer to authority figures, in our life that are outside of us. Now, the obvious authority figures, as you think of, like, supervisors, managers, bosses, teachers, also parents, right? But I always think of authority figures that are people who are very important in our life. For example, that we're in, personal relationships, romantic relationships with. It could be, close family members and so on. Now, why do I say that they're authority figures? It's not that they're over us or our boss, but it's because we put these people in a very high regard or a high place in our life. So they become and should be authorities in our life. Like, obviously, if we're in a relationship with somebody, we care what they think and how they feel, right? It's something because it's of such high importance. So they become authorities. Now, we should also be authorities in their life, So it's not a matter of being over that other person. So I'm thinking that this first half of September, themes of, are we exerting our personal power enough in our life? And are we allowing are we allowing other people to honor our personal power, or giving us the honor that is kind of due to us? And this is basically talking about that Aries North Node or first house North Node, where we are looking at, what is it that we need to do for our best and highest good in this lifetime, and not disregarding other people in our life, but making sure that we're putting our needs, wants, and desires in a high importance in our life. Making sure that we are allowing ourselves to honor our own personal power. Now, if you look at this card carefully, you can see that, the symbol of Aries on the throne of this emperor. And so it's one of the cards that is referring to that fiery, Aries energy. Now, your timeline cards, you've got the 10 of Cups upright. You've got the Queen of Cups upright. And you've got the Knight of Wands reversed. So this is saying how this is going to play out in different ways for each of you in your life. With this 10 of Cups, okay, this is about emotional fulfillment. And this is referring to those, like a lot of this that's going to play out is going to be among family, okay? Personal, romantic relationships, and also just close family members. But this is also talking about the emotional fulfillment that you desire and want has to do, and it's tied in with your personal power. Because when you look at a North Node in Aries and or the first house, the natural tendency could be my happiness and emotional fulfillment is going to happen when I allow others to get what they want out of life. So we're in a personal relationship with somebody, and the more we give, okay, this is Libra South Node or 7th house South Node. The more we give in, the more that's going to lead to them being happy, so we'll be happy. But it doesn't work out that way in this lifetime. So by you exerting your personal power in your life when it needs to be exerted, it's going to lead to the harmony and emotional fulfillment that you desire. Okay, it seems counterintuitive, but that's the way it works. Now, with this Queen of Cups, what this is saying is that the balance point comes where, and it is a fine balance where, while we're exerting, we're becoming our own inner hero. We're becoming strong within ourselves, but while keeping our emotional connection to the world around us, to those that are close to us, okay? And because the way that humans work a lot of times, it's kind of like a black-white thing. It's like, if I need to do this, I'm going to shut off this and go to this side. If I need to do this, I'm going to shut off so we tend to be very black and white. And the balance point comes where we want to have the balance to be able to keep our, emotional connection and make sure that, there are people around us have needs and wants and desires, but not sacrifice our personal needs, wants, and desires for the sake of them. So this is this fine balancing point, which you're going to, experience this first half of September. Now, also going over here to the Knight of Wands reversed. All of the knights are cards of movement. They're on horses. And the Knight of Wands is referring to, all of the fire signs in the zodiac. And of course, Aries being one of them, the first sign of the zodiac. And because the knights reversed, it's saying that there could be a feeling, as you have tried to kind of exert the Aries energy that wants to come out in you, it could feel like kind of uncomfortable, and it's something that you're going to have to like kind of overcome as you begin to put your needs, wants, and desires in a place of importance. You're going to find it's easier. But, there is this point where, as we begin to do this, you can see resistance in your life from those around you because, they may be used to you being so accommodating and giving and kind and putting up with whatever they want, type of a thing. And so there could be some resistance that's being faced. But the thing is, what you want to do is you want to just stay, consistent at it. Remember, doing what's comfortable in our lives is never the right move, okay? We all want comfort, okay? That's a human desire, human nature to have that, right? But as we're going through our life, if we are never doing anything that is uncomfortable, there's no growth there. So that's part of this like kind of North Node path. And just realize that you just have to kind of keep at it. And then when you do that, you're going to see that this Knight of Wands is going to go upright. And this is going to move you forward and get you that emotional kind of fulfillment that you so desire. Now, your two advice cards are, you've got the Six of Wands upright, and you've got the Four of Cups upright. And this is kind of tying into, you know, this Knight of Wands. So you have the Six of Wands. This is victory. And this card is saying that you have it within your power to really live a life, form a life that is going to really give you what you need and what you want. There's a saying, and this totally applies to somebody that has a North Node in Aries and or the first house. And this saying is, fortune favors the bold. Okay. And this is a key for you to always remember in your life. By taking bold, direct action, by being proactive, by being instinctual, and moving forward with boldness, it's always going to favor you in a good way. Okay. And so that is something that, you know, you literally have, you know, your future in your hands. Now, the other side of the coin here is you've got the Four of Cups, you know, and this is basically like kind of not feeling fulfilled emotionally, being a little bit like distraught, but not understanding why. And that's some of the things that I see, you know, like Libra North nodes have to deal with, is they don't understand, like, why, like, I'm such a good person, I'm such a nice person. Why is it that I'm going through issues, and why is it that, you know, I am not feeling emotionally fulfilled? There's like a missing piece. And you can see on this card here that, you know, this person is distraught and looking at these three cups and not understanding, kind of confused, and not understanding why there's an issue emotionally, because they don't see this other cup. They're not aware of it. It's like this missing piece. So I'm here to give you the missing piece. The missing piece is that you have to step into Aries power. And that's what this first half of September is saying. It's going to have to do with relationships around you. It could be work, it could be romantic relationships, it could be friends, family, or all of the above. And it's time for you to you might just have to say no to somebody because you really can't and or don't want to do something for somebody. It could be as simple as that. But remember, by being strong and bold, you're actually creating a better future for yourself, which is more emotional fulfillment and more happiness. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Taurus and or the second house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out for you is the reversed moon card. And for the first half of September, what's happening for you, North Nodes in Taurus and or the second house, is there are going to be some realizations that you're going to have, like something that you didn't realize or that was hidden from you is coming to light. The reverse moon card is like during the night, you know, when we're thinking about things or whatever, we have a rough night. When daylight comes the next day, there's this clarity that comes. We've all experienced this, right? And we see things in a new way. It's things that maybe 4, 5, 6, 8 hours earlier in the middle of the night we didn't see correctly. But then with this new day, you know, we take this new breath, and that's what's happening for you, where you're going to see different aspects. It could be one big aspect for some of you, or it could be multiple things in your life where you are going to have this realization about something and things that didn't occur to you. And you might even say, like, wow, like, why didn't I see that before? And it could be for a lot of you, it's, realizations about yourself, about your life, about relationships, could be anything, right? But what's going to happen with this is we're going to look at your timeline cards. You're going to, you have this 8 of Cups upright. What this is doing is it's helping you put your emotions in order about something or some things, multiple things. Like you're finally understanding something, and it frees you up. Like when we understand something about ourselves and our life in a new way that we didn't understand before, we're able to make sense of it, and then it's like we're freed to like put that aside. It's like, okay, I can close that chapter in that book. I understand that now, and it's not this kind of question mark, in our life. And that's kind of what I see happening is that whatever this is for you, or whatever things this may be, it's going to give you this like emotional clarity in order to free you up in some way. Now, your other timeline cards, you've got the King of Wands upright, and you've got the Page of Wands reversed. Now, what this is doing is that this is affecting your energy. Okay, wands are about energy. They're about physical energy, mental, energy, emotional energy, but also inspiration. Okay, this has to do with kind of our inner fire. But what this is really doing is it's causing you, I think, for a lot of you, where you are kind of growing up in some way. See, what I mean by that is that, you know, growing into our full power as people, it's not anything that is negative. It's not like we there's people that could be 40, 50 plus years old that are still growing into their power. Okay, we tend to think when we turn 18 or we're 25 or 35, oh, I'm fully grown. And no, we're constantly learning. And so that's what I mean by this, is that this is this feeling of you leveling up, and it's like, oh, okay, like I'm stepping more into my power. But it's the feeling of like growing up, where you realize something about yourself and your life. And we should all experience that on a normal, regular basis, where we're able to say like, wow, okay, I didn't realize that before, and now I do. And it's this feeling of stepping into your power, or kind of, like I said, growing up. And that's what affects, that this could have on your life, is feeling like you are enhancing yourself as a person, and, as I said, stepping more into your personal power. Now, your 2 advice cards are, you've got the Ace of Pentacles upright, and you've got the 3 of Wands upright. So what's really happening here at the end of whatever you're realizing is you're realizing the value of what you've learned. When we learn something new about ourselves, about our life, about our relationships, or something, the end result should be, wow, okay, that it has value. And even if it might have been something that was difficult, we first learn something comes to light. But in the end, like, for example, this popped into my head, like maybe, you learn something about a friendship, right? And the friendship was a certain way for a number of years. And then all of a sudden, like you learned something. And even if it was something that you learned that was difficult, the end result was it freed you up, because, you don't have uh, maybe a certain negativity in your life anymore, right? So what I'm saying is that sometimes when we have these realizations, we don't see the value in it. But what you're going to do is, after the dust settles and you get freed up, you're going to see the value in that, and it's going to bring value, into your life. For a lot of you, it could even be like upping your material gains, actually, is what Ace of Pentacles could be. But it's definitely something of value that you're going to see, that what this whole process is bringing value to your life, and because of that freedom of moving in a new direction. And then, speaking of new direction, this 3 of Wands is, a lot of times when we realize something about our life, we tend to want to go off in a new direction, like, okay, I'm going to take a new path. Okay, so maybe that friendship, ended, or you learned something about it, or that relationship or job or whatever, or you learn something about yourself, and you're able to say, okay, now I understand why I did that, I said that, and I'm closing the chapter of that book, and it's freeing you up. But what I see you doing, and this is what's really important, is really start to dream of where it is you want to go. Where do you want to take this energy that you have? Where do you want to take this, um, like, newfound personal power that's in you? What areas of life would you like to invest in? Okay, and again, we're touching on the Ace of Pentacles about investing, right? So you're investing this energy in something that is going to kind of benefit you. Okay, but essentially, in a nutshell, the first half of September, I see things coming to light for you, having these realizations, and I see you being more free and stepping more into your personal power and focusing that power into something that is beneficial for your future. Okay, so make sure that you're dreaming big and looking for ways that you can use that newfound energy. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Gemini and or the third house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Nine of Cups upright. And this is traditionally known, the Nine of Cups is known as the wish card or wishes fulfilled. And I'm seeing in this spread, I'm looking here, and this looks like to be a very, very great first half of September for all of you. Now, obviously, each of you that has your North Node in Gemini or the third house, you have different lives, you're on, different levels of your path. But I feel like for all of you, you're going to have some sort of like positive movement forward. Okay. Now, as I said, for some people, it might be greater than others, but I am seeing an overall like positive movement forward. Now, what I mean by that is there's various aspects of your life that, you have, wishes, desires, and dreams. And I feel like there's things that are going to take place in September that are going to start to move you toward those. You're going to feel that. Okay, let's get some more clarity. We'll look at your timeline here. So you've got the Lover's card upright, you've got the Two of Wands reversed, and you've got the Three of Cups upright. So starting with the Lover's card, this card doesn't just mean our romantic partnerships, okay? It means lots of close relationships. This could even be, the Lover's card is like, could be something where we are connected to a certain aspect of our life or whatever. Sometimes it's whatever is like we're very, very connected to at a deep level. But because this card also has this archangel on top, there's something karmic about it. So I think for a lot of you, this is going to be, we'll start with, personal relationships, okay? I feel like there's going to be, in some aspect or some of your relationships, positive movement forward. For some of you, it could be like even new relationships. For some of you, it could be an enhancement of the relationships that you already have. But I just see this kind of positivity that's happening within this. This is also when it has to do with, it could be, as I said, our relationships that we have with work, things that are very, very close to us, close to our heart. It could be ideas or projects even for some of you. But I do see this, like, you're going to see this kind of movement forward in a very kind of positive way. Now, the Two of Wands is really interesting. This is reversed here, Two of Wands. And I'm going to talk in conjunction with this Lover's card. Why did this card pop out? Okay. When we look at the Two of Wands, this is about having your world under control. You have the world in your hands. You have plans, you have goals, you have dreams, but and you're taking action, right? The reason it's reversed here is what's happening for you this first half of September is this is almost like grace being shown to you. You're realizing, and this is part of this beauty that's coming in for you, is that sometimes we're just given like gifts by, from the universe, and we're like, wow, like what did I didn't do anything necessarily to deserve that, right? We always think of, as humans, we think of like, if I do this, I'm going to get this. But occasionally in life, sometimes just like the grace of the universe, we're just kind of like given things or blessed with something. And that's the reason why this card's reversed, is you're realizing that you didn't have to do anything. It's just you were just living your life, being your best self that you possibly could be, and you're just given this. And the reason I brought up the Lovers card again is because this is that karmic thing. You can see the archangel on top over the lovers, and this is something that is like, it's just given to you type of a thing. And so realize that you don't always have to kind of like earn things in life just by living our best life, being the best version of ourselves. Occasionally the universe will just give us things, and I think that there's going to be positive movement forward, for each of you in different areas of life. And then you end up here with the Three of Cups, upright. And again, this is talking about, our, emotional relationships with others, how we support each other, that we're stronger when we have people around us that are supporting us, whether that be, romantic, close family members, friends, even work relationships. Okay, we're stronger when we are able to connect with other people and intertwine our ideas and our emotions with others. And I think this is one of the things that you're going to experience. This is that you're going to experience that you have support structures around you, and that's part of this kind of gift, even if it's just, one person who's in your corner and, helping you through something and to realize something. So really, really positive this month. Now, your advice cards are kind of saying like, well, why is this happening and how is it happening, right? So you've got the Hierophant reversed, and you've got the Two of Pentacles reversed. So the Hierophant, this is referring to your South Node in Sagittarius and or the ninth house. And one of the reasons why this is happening is a lot of you have been taking and putting the effort into making changes and trying to live more of your, Gemini North Node and your third house North Node, okay? Where you've put aside some of those things that you had with Sagittarius South Node, where you're realizing, yeah, I really there's lots of ways to look at my life, lots of ways to look at my relationships, and you're able to break out of the mold. And that's what this Hierophant reversed is breaking out of the same old traditions, the doing the same things, all the time. And even if you do that on a very small scale, okay, so each of you are going to be doing this at a different level, but just at a very small scale, if you're doing this, there are rewards that come. That's part of why this is happening, because even if you make the smallest changes that are positive, stepping into your North Node power, you're going to see positive results. And a lot of you have been doing good work on that. Now, this Two of Pentacles, this is about balancing, and this is what a lot of you have been working on. You've really been working on like juggling your life, your relationships, getting things, everything in order, and it's been a lot of work, right? And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy, but you've been working on doing that. You've been working on trying to juggle this. And what I see for the first half of September is a lot of you are going to begin to realize that things are going to ease up a bit, where you're going to see, like, at least in one aspect of your life, and for most of you, multiple aspects of your life and areas of your life, you're going to see that you don't have to struggle as hard to juggle things. Okay, so it's going to get a little bit easier. Again, this is that kind of reward and gift from the universe as you step into that power of your North Node in Gemini or the third house. So yeah, very, very positive reading for North Nodes in Gemini and or the third house. So my hat goes off to you, and yeah, just enjoy the rewards, and remember that if there's areas of your life that maybe aren't getting the blessings that you want, just think, how can I infuse more of the positive aspects of Gemini into that area of life? And when you do that, you're going to start to see the results. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Cancer and or the fourth house. Okay, wow, powerful reading. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Nine of Wands upright. And this is a card of, looking back at our past experiences, both positive and negative. But the reason that the person here is leaning up against their one wand or staff and they've got a bandage around their head is that, going through life and learning things is a process, and it can take its toll on us, right? But there's a certain wisdom in like learning about what we've gone through and making sense of it. And so I think that the first half of September, what a lot of you are doing is and I feel like it's happened actually starting in August for a lot of you, where you're starting to look back and really realize like how far you've come, and taking stock of the positive moves that you've made in your life and the positive directions you've taken, but also the ones that maybe didn't pay off, and kind of like learning from them. And I feel like that's part of this whole like first half of September, is just really like looking at where you're at now and where you've come from, and learning from all of that. Now, this is a hugely positive reading, so we're going to look at your timeline card. So you've got the Seven of Pentacles upright, you've got the Nine of Pentacles upright, and you've got the Hermit card upright also. So starting with the Seven of Pentacles, this is about, really what this is about growth. And when we are able to learn from our experiences, what that does is it enriches our life. That growth can enrich our lives in lots of ways, like actually physical riches. It can emotional, mental, all of those things. It's definitely enriching our life. And what you're doing is you're looking at your experiences as this personal growth type of a thing, and then the value in that. I think all of us have experienced, and I'll pose this to you right now. Have you ever like went through an experience that at the time was maybe very challenging, but when you looked back on it months or years later, you saw the value in it and what it gave to you, right? I know everybody has experienced that, and that's what this energy is saying. It's like you went through something, you learned from it, and it gave you growth in life. Now, where it's taking you is two places. You've got the Nine of Pentacles upright, and you've got the Hermit card. Ultimately, what this is doing is this is giving you inner wisdom. Okay, when we learn from experience, that gives us the wisdom. When we learn from it, going through experience and not learning from it doesn't give us that. And I feel like that's where all of you are kind of headed. You're just more wise than you were before. Okay, that's when you're going to look back and you're going to go like, I might not be perfect right now, but I definitely have made progress. and I definitely have more wisdom than I did 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, whatever the case may be. And that's part of this growth process. So you're seeing, again, the theme of this month with the eclipse is about perspective, right? You're seeing this perspective of where you've come from and how far you've come, okay? And it's giving you this wisdom. And then the Nine of Pentacles is saying that, the big payoff is that this growth is leading you to stand more in your power in order to enjoy your life more and enjoy. It's like this maturing process that's happening, where you are able to, even if it's just, for each of you it'll be at a different, level, okay? But just if you can enjoy your life in various aspects of your life just a little bit more, stand more in your kind of personal power, and stand in the sense that, you know you you're able to free up a lot of your energy in order to enjoy life more. That's kind of what the Nine of Pentacles is saying. And I'm really feeling like a lot of you, this could play out in new interests coming into your life, or allowing yourself to dive into something new, and to go into something that is of a new interest, okay? And this is part of this, like when we understand, okay, now I don't feel like I'm being confined in a certain area of my life. How can I take this, energy and kind of enjoy it more? Now, your two advice cards are kind of like playing all of this out and really explaining it. Is you've got the beautiful Sun card upright, and you've got the Temperance card, okay? The Temperance card is saying that, look, this is a card of inner alchemy. The process of going through life and learning and going through experiences, and then when we internalize those experiences, understand them, and make sense of them, that turns into wisdom. What this is doing is this is refining our insides, refining our who we are as people, okay? We're turning lead into gold, literally, not literally, but within our body. We're taking all of these elements that seemed useless before, and then the end result is like a gold within us. That's the energy, okay? And then the Sun card is saying that, like, you know there all of you in certain areas of your life to different levels are going to feel just slightly more optimistic about at least one aspect of your life, if not many aspects of your life, okay? And as I said, results may vary depending on where you're at on your path, but at least you're going to see some sort of like newfound understanding of certain areas of your life, a new sort of like optimism, okay, that you're going to see. And all this is coming from making sense of our past experiences. And really, the other thing the Sun card is really saying is that, you know, your North Node in Cancer, the zodiac sign of Cancer, is also known as the cosmic child. Okay, not childish, but childlike, in like a renewal of innocence, going into, you can think of a being of purity, okay? When we look at how we are as adults sometimes, and you look at an innocent child, the innocence and that purity is something that we can also have as adults. And that's part of this process of this inner alchemy. Is the end result is being more childlike and pure of heart and spirit, not, as I said, childish, but more childlike, and getting to that point of looking at life in a new, fresh way, okay? And not maybe taking things so seriously, or always, maybe having more optimism, because that's one of the qualities of, children, which is, a, unwavering optimism, okay? So that's kind of what's happening in this life for you right now in the first half of September. And it's because of your learning about your experiences, internalizing them, and putting that wisdom forth, and seeing things in a new way in your life. Okay. And so it's very, very positive results. So, yeah, wonderful reading. Enjoy this process and realize that if there are more aspects of your life that you want to feel more wisdom in, or you want to experience more optimism, always remember, review what it means to be the best zodiac sign Cancer you can be, your North Node in Cancer. The more you apply that to whatever area of life, emotional intelligence, being comfortable with emotions, making sure that you're not taking things, Capricorn, Saturn too seriously. If you infuse that into your life, it's going to bring all those benefits that we just talked about. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Leo and or the 5th house. Okay, the theme card that popped out for you is the Ace of Cups reversed. And I feel like the first half of September, there's something that, you're going to have to kind of go through that could be slightly emotionally, challenging. But this is really talking about something that you've been feeling for a while. So it's not so much just a certain incident that could happen the first half of September, but it's kind of like a lot of you have been feeling like, um, maybe a lack of like support around you, a lack of maybe connection in some way, it's like a feeling of being like left out in the cold, or just kind of, another word would be like abandoned in some way in certain areas of your life. So I feel like this is something that is being dealt with this first half of September. And, there is a way out, but, we really have to look at, we go through cycles in our life and we have to kind of figure out how to navigate them and kind of get out of them. But I feel like this first half of September is something for all of you where you've just been kind of feeling like there's certain areas of your life or multiple areas of your life that you just don't feel the support and connection that you want. Okay, we're going to get some more clarity. We're going to look at your timeline here. So you've got the Ace of Swords reversed. You've got the 5 of Pentacles upright, and you've got the 3 of Cups reversed. Okay, so the Ace of Swords, what this is saying is that there's some issues with communication. Okay, so there could have been some miscommunication that's adding to this kind of feeling, or people like, you feel like you're not on the same page, on the communication page with certain people or certain relationships in your life, and so there could be difficulty there. Now the result of that is, again, you see the 5 of Pentacles, which is like the feeling of, you're on your own or you're out in the cold in some way. Because remember, a lot of your life path has to do with dealing with your South Node in Aquarius and or the 11th house. And the Aquarius rules groups, organizations, it could even be like family structures, the tribe. Okay, and when you see people that have a North Node in Leo and or the 5th house, it's like the universe is constantly pushing them out of like comfort groups. Okay, whether that be the protection of a family, a tribe, an organization, because you're being asked to step into your like Leo-ness, your Leo power, which is to go to the forefront and not just be part of the collective. Okay, that's Aquarius. But the feeling of it when you go through this is, the feeling is like, where's my support? I need my tribe around me. I've explained it this way before in the past, and this is like the overall feeling. When you look at the way people used to live, like, 1,000 years ago, right? People lived in small, like, tribes, clans, or villages, right? And, it was very, very dangerous, like, 800, 1,000 years ago, to venture off from your tribe's territory or your town and go to another area, because it's not like it is now. And so there was a protection. If you were ever like, if that's why they say when people got kicked out of the tribe back then, it was a serious matter. It wasn't just like us today, like leaving one town and moving to another city or whatever, because it was just very, you were a stranger, you didn't know anybody type of a thing. But that feeling of being like taken away from the protection of the tribe is one of the things that Leo north nodes or north nodes in the fifth house go through. It's that feeling where it's almost like life is constantly pushing out, like, okay, go out now, it's time to go out on your own type of a thing. And so the feeling is, like I said, it could be like being out in the cold. The other thing that's going along with this too is you have this three of cups here reversed, and so it could also feel like the emotional connections that you need, want, and desire aren't fully there. They don't, like, you really need, want, and have this desire for this close emotional connection. Why? Because of it's a protection. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have any emotional connection. What this means is you shouldn't use it as a crutch, because remember, part of your path is to step out in some way, to step in a position of power, to step in a position of leadership. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean, that doesn't mean in business or anything else, that you could do this as being a parent or whatever, but just the ability to stand out in some way and to step into that Leoness in some way is of great importance. And it doesn't mean, as I said, that you're not emotionally connected. It just means that you're not emotionally reliant on those connections. Okay. Now your advice cards are, you've got the King of Pentacles reversed, and you've got the Justice card reversed. Okay. One of the things that this is talking about here is that these are cards of personal power. You've got the King of Pentacles, which is someone who's rooted in what it is they value and who they are as a person and what they value within themselves. And then you have the Justice card, which is somebody that is able to see things in their life and make the proper judgments or calls. You can see the scales of justice, which is literally talking about understanding something, being able to weigh it out, and being able to make the proper decisions or make the proper kind of judgments. And so what this is really saying is that, where is it in your life that you can step into a position of power in your life? Where is it that you can step into who you are as an individual? That's another thing that this is saying, without anyone else. So, like, the question that I always ask my North nodes in Leo is, I ask them, like, well, what is it that they want to do in their life? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, well, when you think about what you want to do in your life, are you thinking about how others in your life will react? How will my church congregation, how will my family, how will my work associates, how will my friends or any organization I belong to, what will they think of that? Because that's one of the things that happens with this, is we're making decisions based on what we think others want or from us, or what other people will think, as opposed to, no, this is like what I want. Okay. So part of that is like, this is part of you stepping into your power. And this is actually very positive for the first half of September, because remember, change happens within us when there is a need for change. And I think that that's what this is saying, is that the first half of September, you're seeing that there's this need for change. What I'm here to tell you is that if you've been feeling like a lack of support, feeling kind of left out in the cold, or communication is rough and people aren't understanding you, remember that it's because that support structure is being kind of pulled away from you, so you can move out out of the tribe, and not what you should ask yourself, what is it that you want? What is it that you think? Not regarding not what my parents think, my wife, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whoever else. What is it that you want to do? And if that connects with you, because this is talking about, your kind of, inner power that you're trying to tap into. When you can do that, then things get more clear and you will definitely feel more connected. And this is what's really weird about our North Node. The more we do kind of what's uncomfortable, we think that we're moving away from what it is we really want, which in your case is this connection to the structures around you. The more you move out into your Leoness, the more you're going to actually be connected to those structures around you and kind of get what you need. So yeah, it's a really strange way that it works out, but that is the way that the North Node works. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Virgo and or the 6th house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out for you is the 6 of Cups. And this is a card of our emotional past. It could be everything from, our recent emotional past, but a lot of times it has to do with things going back to childhood, And I feel like this first half of September, there's going to be this, a lot of you have been in this road of like reviewing your past, everything from your childhood on up, your whole life, okay, your whole emotional past, and both the positive and the negative. And it's just kind of this review process. But what you're doing is you're learning from it. Like I feel like a lot of you are making sense of, you know, like how far you've come. And I'm seeing this kind of overall kind of general theme for a lot of the North nodes this month, where, and it's probably because we're here in eclipse season, and especially, we have eclipses in both Virgo and Pisces this month of September. So obviously, you're going to be feeling this quite a bit. But I just feel like there's this emotional past review that's been going on for a lot of you, and it's part of this necessary healing that's coming up for you and that wants to happen. Let's look at the timeline and we'll kind of get some more clarity. So you've got the Page of Pentacles reversed. You've got the 8 of Swords reversed, and you've got the Queen of Swords upright. So I feel like each of these cards is kind of sharing a different aspect of how the first half of September is playing out. We'll start with this Page of Pentacles reversed. I feel like this is referring to you're looking at your past and you're thinking about what it is you valued in the past, like things that you valued in yourself and others in your life, maybe things, your hopes, dreams, desires that you had in your past. And some of you are maybe reviving some of those and making them important again, or others of you are thinking like, oh, well, that was important to me in the past, and look, it's not really important now that I'm looking in hindsight. So it's going to be this combination of basically looking at things of value, things that you valued from the past, and are they still valuable to you, or do you need to kind of release them and let them go, or do you need to like maybe enhance them more, like, wow, I used to do this and this was an interest to me, but for some reason I went in a different path, and maybe you'll like renew that. So that's part of this process, this first half of September. And then with this 8 of Swords reversed, mentally what's happening for a lot of you is, I feel like because of this review process of your emotional past, you're being freed up mentally and emotionally, like things that I feel a lot of you leaving things that were confined, that maybe ideas and feelings that you had. I feel like you are able to free up more, like you've looked at things in the past and you said, I'm okay with that. That happened, and I'm able to free myself up. And I see this process going on for a lot of you, where I see you being freed up and not feeling confined about an idea, about who you are in your past, and just kind of opening up, stepping out of something that was like this maybe mental prison, or feeling like you were confined in some way. And so it's this beautiful energy of, as I said, being freed up. Now, the Queen of Swords is interesting because, again, as I said, a lot of the theme this month is about the North Nodes, about our personal power, stepping into this personal power. And that's what this card is signifying. Remember, your North Node in Virgo and or the sixth house is ruled by the planet Mercury. And the planet Mercury rules all of the swords in the tarot deck, right? And I feel like this is a representation of you. The end result of this first half of September is getting you to stand more in your power by understanding your past and how you've, both the good parts and the bad parts, and how far you've come. And this is you standing in your power, able to really hone in and think about things and analyze your life, because I feel like that's a big superpower that a lot of you are learning about, is your power of focus on the details of life. Because for you, the answers will always be found in the details. Your answers will always be found for your life in focusing in on the details. Okay, that's where the answers are going to come. And I feel like that's where the answers are going to be for you, stepping into this like newfound power. Now, your two advice cards are, you've got the Four of Swords upright, and you've got the Ace of Cups reversed. The Four of Swords is saying, as you're going through this process, especially the first half of September, you want to make time, for yourself to try to have a peace of mind or a serenity of mind as much as possible. This is a card of, meditation and repose. But remember, it's really watch your mental state throughout this, first half of September. And at any given point, when you find yourself maybe being a little bit like mentally frantic or worried or have anxiety or something to that effect, try to find a way to kind of get back, like take some deep breaths and say, okay, it's okay. Because sometimes this review process of going back into the past, it can cause kind of like this snowball thing where we start like thinking about this and then we think about that, and before you know it. So what this is saying is, pay attention to your thought processes. And this is good for you to do all the time, but especially this first half of September. And make sure that if you find yourself, oh wow, I kind of went on a 5 minute like mental, roller coaster, just stop and say, okay, take some deep breaths and say, go back and you find your center. Because remember that this is about, you know, the focusing part. You want to focus in on where you are now, who you are now. And so just catch yourself and bring yourself back to your center if you find that your mental state is kind of, getting away from you. And then the other advice card, this Ace of Cups reversed, is saying that, remember, when we go through these review processes, different emotions will come up. Like, I know that personally, when I ruminate or think about, some past experiences, uh, I will check in with myself maybe, and I'll find myself in an emotional state that I don't like. And so again, this is going along with the mental state. Is the emotional state is, watch your emotional state, monitor it, and make sure that you are keeping it, no, keeping it, in a position of, equality. Like, you don't want to, make sure you don't want to cut yourself off from your emotions, but you want to keep them, I guess, stabilized is what I'm saying. um Eckhart Tolle, in his book The Power of Now, talked about doing this where, you might find yourself, and this is something that's very Virgo like, right, where you are laying in bed and you're worrying about something, right? So you're laying in bed and you're physically very comfortable, but all of a sudden your mind's going to a different place. And he says, like, wait a minute, like, stop. Go back to where you are. Stay in the present moment. You're sitting here, you're laying comfortably in bed. There might be a little cool breeze coming through the window. You're fine, you're protected, but your mind went off somewhere in the past or in the future, and your emotional state and your mental state weren't very calm. And so what this is really saying is that by doing this, by making sure you're checking in and saying, wait a minute, I'm worrying about the future, or I am worrying and stressing about something that happened in the past. Where am I right now? And so really that's what this is saying. Is it's saying stay in the present moment, stay focused, but it doesn't mean you ignore the future or the past. So that's the kind of tricky part, is you have to balance it. You have to review the past and learn from it, but yet not let yourself go down these kind of like rabbit holes mentally or emotionally. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Libra and or the 7th house. Yeah, powerful month this month. I'm just amazed because there seems to be this overall theme for all of the North Nodes of completion and people kind of stepping into better versions of themselves and better lives. So, the card that popped out for you is the World card. And so, this is a card of, completion, about, opening up yourself to going to this next level, creating the world that you want, living in the world that you want, being the person that you want. And I see this big time for you because a lot of you North Nodes in Libra, and or the 7th house, it's been a tough ride the last couple of years, because balancing out, this inner hero and strength that you naturally have within, trying to fit that into, becoming this person who is wanting and desiring and needing to live in more harmony with, situations around you in your life, in relationships and whatever it is, work, personal relationships, family or friends. And I think a lot of you have kind of done this work. And where it's paying off, you can really see in these timeline cards. So you've got the, for your timeline cards, you've got the 4 of Swords upright. You've got the 3 of Cups reversed. And you've got the Emperor card upright. Now this is interesting. We're actually going to start with the Emperor card, this end result card. This is what you're realizing is that you don't have to trade your dignity, your strength, your personal desires and will away in order to become the best version of yourself. Because that's one of the things that we look at when we see like the polarity of Libra, Aries, Aries, Libra, right? Your South Node in Aries is like, you're realizing that you still, that there's more strength in what you're doing, is you're adding a new dimension to yourself, meaning that yes, you already are a natural born hero. Everyone that has a South Node in Aries or the 1st house has that kind of hero energy where you're naturally courageous, your naturally ability to take action, you have this natural ability to be proactive. All of these things come easy to you, to stand up for yourself and others. And so what you're learning is you're not taking any of that away, but what you're doing is you're adding to it the skills of diplomacy, the skills of being able to compromise, the ability to look and put other people's needs, wants, and desires also as important, those that are close to you. Basically working with people in a harmonious way in relationships, Libra, okay? And what you're finding is at the end of this, you're actually more powerful than you once were, because you're not taking away, but you're adding to it. And the process of adding that harmonious Libra seventh house energy is blending into you and mellowing out areas of yourself that needed to be mellowed out. And that's what this first half of September is really showing, you, is that you can step into this new world, and it's a world of improvement of your life and who you are. Now, how this is playing out is, you've got the Four of Swords here. This is a feeling a lot of you are having is like, when you have this feeling of completion, like you're on this next level, this next journey, and you're looking at where you've been. It's giving a lot of you this feeling of kind of calmness, like almost like a serenity. And that's what this card is showing, a card of repose, of meditation, of being serene, because you're realizing that you don't always have to be the one to take action. You don't have to be the one that always, goes forward and, is proactive, and the one who has to be the hero. Sometimes your role is to be a supporting role, okay? And that's huge. And so that's giving this kind of calm energy where you can play that role. You don't always have to step into the role of being assertive, okay? And by doing this, it's giving you this kind of feeling of like calmness in certain areas of your life. Now, going along with that, this Three of Cups reversed is showing that what we can feel a lot of times when we look at the first house in the zodiac and the seventh house, okay? First house being ruled by Aries and the seventh house being ruled by Libra. When we look at this polarity, literally what the first house is the self, and the seventh house is the other. And what can happen a lot of times is that as we are going into the energy of Libra or the seventh house, which is the other, the feeling a lot of times is, are we losing part of ourself when we step into blending our energy and emotions, making other people's emotions and dreams and desires important? Are we losing part of ourself? And that's the big thing, that the reason that you're getting to the place that you're at is you're realizing you don't have to give up part of yourself in order to help others. Essentially, the role that you're taking in this lifetime is you're becoming the enlightened hero and the enlightened leader, meaning that you're no longer the one that needs to go down and take orders from a general and fight a battle, okay? You're the one who is the general now. You're the one who is the king or the queen, who is standing in their power, but who is taking into consideration all of the needs of the kingdom around them, type of a thing. Okay, so it's this enlightened leadership that's coming in. You're realizing that all this is doing is it's enhancing, your life, and that you don't lose yourself as you become intertwined emotionally and mentally and energetically with other people. But what you're doing is you're just enhancing those people and yourself, okay? So it's an adding to, as I was saying. Now, the two advice cards are, you've got the Five of Wands reversed, and you've got the Knight of Swords reversed, okay? Now, this is a reminder, as we're moving through this month and we're moving through all of the eclipses that are coming up, that always be mindful of being caught up and triggered into conflict. Because look, I lay the cards on the table all the time, okay? I give it to you straight. When we have our south node always plays out from time to time in our life. It never goes away, okay? It's like a part of ourselves. And the south node is can come up in a negative way for all of us, okay? So your south node in Aries or the first house, you always have to be mindful that it wouldn't take very long to be easily caught up in conflict. So it's always seeking the path of harmony, okay? Always seeking the path of diplomacy. And that's something that you're being asked to like really kind of guard against and watch. Don't get sucked into any sort of conflicts, okay? So that's the heads up of the reversed Five of Wands. And then the reversed Knight of Swords is talking about, knights are cards of movement. And this is the most quick, impulsive of all the knights, moving fastly forward with, sword pointed ahead. And remember that in this lifetime, being too quick to action, being too quick to saying something or temper, or being too quick to react in a certain way, impulsive action does not help you in this lifetime. Remember what is the symbol or sigil of the zodiac sign of Libra? It's the scales, okay? It's the scales. It's weighing things out before I speak, before I act, before I do anything impulsively. Let me check first to see if this is the right thing to do, to say, okay? So remember, a quick impulsive action. But see, the reason I say that is because when your natural way of being is, I need to take action, I need to do something, okay? That's a gift, but it also is a double-edged sword, because it can, if you really think back, I always talk to my, north nodes in Libra, or the seventh house, and I say, how many times, if you look back in your life, have you said or done something or taken action quickly and regretted it? And like, how many times? Count them on your fingers. Go back years and years and years. And it's because you have this natural, like, Aries energy that comes in, first house energy. So this is just saying, like, make sure you don't take any quick action, that you are acting from that place of that enlightened leader, where something happens, you feel it, okay, I need to do something, but first meditate on it, really weigh it out, put the scales out. Okay, what's the best way to approach this? Maybe I don't need to say this thing that I want to say. Maybe I'll go a different route, okay? Think of peacemaker, diplomacy, all of that, okay? But this is a powerful first half of September for you. Just remember that south node in all of us is always there, and when it pops up, we always have to make sure that we're keeping it in check. But ultimately, like a lot of north nodes this month, you're stepping more into your power. And remember, you're not deleting part of yourself, you're just adding to who it is you could be, okay? Hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd just like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Scorpio and or the 8th house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out for you is the Six of Swords. And I feel like that the big theme for the first half of September for you North Nodes in Scorpio and or the 8th house is, I feel like you have been and are like moving away from certain areas of your life that haven't served you, that haven't that have maybe caused you issues and things like that, and you're kind of like you've made the trip of navigating through these kind of troubled waters, and you're moving away, you're moving to a better place. I feel like all of you are in some aspect of your life, or multiple aspects and areas of your life, moving to a better place, like things that you were going through that were difficult. It could have been through work and career, it could have been in family relationships, personal relationships, romantic relationships, or just yourself in general, like your life. You're moving in a better direction. And it's when we move from being in a state of, let's say, not our best place to a good place, it's what's really not talked about is the journey in between, and that's what this is about. We talk about I'm either in a bad place or I'm in a great place, or I'm, or getting to a good place, right? We don't talk about what's in between, and that's what this reading is about. Let's get some more clarity. We're going to look at your timeline here. So you've got the Ten of Swords reversed, okay? You've got the Ace of Wands reversed, and you've got the World card. Okay, again, I'm seeing the World card come a lot this month, this first half of September for a lot of the North nodes. Okay, this is a great card to get. What this means is, in conjunction with this theme card, is the reason I said you're moving to a better place is because you're moving to a better version of the world that you're going to live in. You're in the process of moving to this better place. But again, this reading is talking about the journey from, point A, where we might not be in a great place in certain areas of our life, to point B, which is the better place. We're talking about that in-between state. And that's what these other cards here are saying. So you've got the Ten of Swords reversed, which is a positive card because this is after, something has taken its, completion, and it's taken its final stand in our life, or has some sort of an ending. This is about where we move from that, because in this card you can see that when it's reversed, the dark night is now on the bottom, and what you see here is the beautiful dawn, which is highlighted. So it's the day that comes after kind of the dark night. And so this is what you're doing. This would be the beginning part of moving away, when the dust settles on something, or you realize, hey, it's time for me to change that career, or I have to make some adjustments in this relationship, and there's been some difficult things that I've gone through, or it could have been even like for some of you a health thing. Okay, that's part of it too, and you're able to move forward. That this is the first step where you start to begin to see clarity. But with this reversed Ace of Wands, wands are about our energy, our personal energy, our passion, physical energy, all of those things. And what can happen is, when we first begin to move away into a better place, in order to get from the not so good place to the better place, it the energy isn't quite there. You know what I mean? It could be like feeling a little bit depleted energetically, both emotionally and mentally and spiritually, and all different things. So the energy could be a little down. This is common, and this is part of the process. If you ever think about, anything that you've ever gone through, where, let's just say in a personal relationship, where the relationship, it got to a completion point where, it wasn't at a great place. There was some sort of an ending. Okay, Ten of Swords. Okay, and then you started to move away from that. When you did, you weren't fully charged up with energy right away. It took a bit, and that's just something to be aware of. But then when you look back on anything that had happened in our life that was difficult, you see it from the point of like, yeah, I'm glad that I made that journey. I'm glad I went through that, and I was able to get through that. And that's essentially what this is saying. Is they're saying that at least in one area of your life, for some of you, you could have great things going on in multiple areas. This could just be one area. Maybe it's, for some of you, just this health situation where you're trying to get healthy and you're going on this journey. For others, it could be just with a certain relationship, a friendship, or whatever. So it doesn't have to be this big thing. It could just be a certain focused area of your life. And this is the process of moving. We're talking about the middle ground between those 2 points, between the ending and the new beginning, right? So your 2 advice cards, you've got the Six of Pentacles reversed, and you've got the Death card reversed. Now, if you watch my channel for any number of months, when I always talk about the so-called scary cards, the Death card, the Devil, the Tower, etc., right? These cards are nothing to fear. They're just talking about energies. And the Death card is not talking about literal death. The same reason that the Devil card is not talking about the actual devil or a demon. These are symbolic. We're talking about archetypes, okay? And the archetype of death is that parts of our life have to go away in order for us to have a renewed, aspect to our life, right? So if you take the consideration of somebody who is all of a sudden going to get fit and healthy, right? So maybe they have like poor diet and exercise, and then we've seen these people, and they get real serious and they start taking care of themselves and getting healthy, and then completely transform their life. Again, we got the word transformation. That's what death is, a transformation. Well, that old person that was unhealthy had to die and go away in order for the new person to emerge. They can't coexist together. That old person, that old way of being had to die. And so what's happening here is that one of the big themes for you North Nodes in Scorpio, and or the eighth house, is transformation. That's one of the key words, that this is a lifetime for you to have like many transformations in a positive way. And that's all this is. This is transforming parts of your life in order to get a better version of your life. That's all this is. And so just realize this is the process of going through this from beginning the journey to getting to that better place. It's that middle ground that is just this transformation, right? And then the Six of Pentacles reversed is interesting because this is really saying that this is about compassion. This card is about compassion and giving, and it's about charity. But what you're being asked to do is you're being asked to cut yourself a break, to be charitable to yourself, to be kind and giving and understanding to yourself as you're going through this process. Because one of the tendencies for North Nodes in Scorpio or the eighth house is to kind of like, you know, let this get to them personally. Like when these transformations happen in their lives, it can be difficult because it to them to show understanding to themselves and to say like, okay, I'm allowing myself to transform. I'm allowing myself to make mistakes. I'm allowing myself, and I'm being kind to myself. Okay. And that's really what this is. It's like self-care, but it's more than that. It's like self-understanding, being understanding with yourself that this is just the process of life and learning. And I feel like this first half of September, the great news is that you are all moving in a more positive direction, and anything that you might be struggling with right now, or any area or aspect of your life that you're struggling with, it's going to go to a better place. You're making your world a better place, okay? And that's, you're on this road of doing that. This reading is about understanding the journey between that point A and that better place in point B, okay? Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Sagittarius and or the ninth house. Okay, so the theme card that popped out for you is the reversed Nine of Cups. Now, this is known, in the tarot as the wish card. And as looking at this reading and kind of like feeling into this card, I feel like you have the ability to make your wishes and dreams come true in your life, but there could be some challenges in how to do that. And what I'm seeing is it's about getting clear with what you want in order to like move forward, because there could be some kind of mental or emotional confusion about like how to go about achieving what you want in life. Now, for each of you, what are you trying to achieve? For some of you, it could be in personal relationships. Others, it could be health. It could be, for some of you, it could be like money, finances. Anything. Okay, different areas of your life. And so, it's really important that you kind of get clear of what you want emotionally. Now, why does this happen? Well, we've got this, south node here of Gemini and or the third house. And Gemini, with that, ruled by Mercury, you have this idea where you think about a lot of different things, a lot of areas you can go. And so it's hard to like hone in on one path. And so what this is saying is that you actually can make these dreams come true, but you have to first focus in on a direction to take, like kind of concentrated effort and concentrated kind of feeling is what I'm getting. Now, let's look at your timeline cards because it'll be kind of getting some more clarity here. So you've got the Four of Cups reversed, you've got the Queen of Cups reversed, and you've got the World card reversed. Now, the World card is a great card to get when it's reversed or it's upright, because in its reversed state, it's saying that the potential is there, but there's work that needs to be done in order to achieve the world that we want to live in for ourselves. Okay, there's work that needs to be done, and I like to explain it kind of like the reversed sun, where the positivity is there, just like the sun is out during the day, but if clouds come and cover it, the sun doesn't disappear out of the sky, it just is obscured from our view. And that's the same thing with the World card reversed, is that that positivity is there, but there's something that needs to happen. The cloud cover needs to move away, or we need to see things in a new way. So that's like the positive aspects of this. And so we're talking about, your desires, your wishes, your dreams of the world that you want to live in. And one of the things that can happen is, if we go here with this Four of Cups reversed, is there are things that you aren't seeing because you're having trouble choosing a direction. You can see the person here is looking at these cups, concentrating on them, but they're confused about, okay, what do I make of cup 1, 2, 3? And they're focused on that, but they're not seeing there is a way out for them emotionally. And that's part of achieving our dreams, is like focusing in our emotions and our thought process in a certain way in order to achieve what we want to achieve. And remember, part of this life path is for you going into Sagittarius North Node, or the ninth house, is choosing a direction and following that. There's not many path. You have to choose your path, and you're not supposed to be diluted. And that's one of the things that can happen when we have a South Node in Gemini, or the third house, is our energy, our thoughts, our emotions can get diluted because we're looking in so many different directions. So this is about like choosing a focused path of energy and emotions. And then this reversed Queen of Cups is saying, that yeah, there could be, what you're going through right now, there could be some confusion emotionally, and that once that passes, once you kind of get that focus, that's going to go away. That confusion is going to go away once you kind of figure out what it is you want to do. Like, what direction do you want to take in order to achieve your best life, your dreams. Okay, and that's something that you are going to figure out. This is a big step, this first half of September, in really kind of getting to where the direction that you want to go, because you're going to feel it. Now, to get some more clarity of how you're going to do this, we're going to look at these two cards here. We're going to look at your advice cards. You've got the Hermit card reversed, and you've got the Page of Cups upright. Now, this is interesting because the Hermit card, there is a time for us to really, wisdom doesn't just come from deep experience and learning, and experience comes in many ways. Experience can come through us living our best life, and through play, and through emotional flexibility. I guess you could, when you look at these two cards, you can see, like, you've got the hermit, the old wizard type, or the wise man who's had all this experience and has all this acquired wisdom, as opposed to the page, which is this young playful page with holding their cup with the playful fish coming out of the cup. Okay. And it's like this two sides of the extreme. And what this is saying is that one of the things that is not going to help you is when you're trying to be too serious in figuring out your path. And that's one of the gifts that you're bringing from, your south node in Gemini, which is that, mental and emotional flexibility, like looking at life like, oh, okay, this is like a game or a puzzle and I'm trying to figure this out. And so what this is truly saying is, in order to hone in on your best life, it has to inspire you and has to be like fun. It has to inspire you emotionally, mentally, in all things. And that's the clue for you. If you ever find yourself kind of getting too heavy or serious when you're thinking about, oh, I need to do this in my life and this is going to bring me happiness, but you feel this kind of like heavy energy of, you know the hermit, okay, where you're everything is just very serious, and where you don't want to do that. Okay, this is, you want to stay like emotionally and mentally flexible. You want to make sure that your true path is always going to be filled with like fun and adventure and like lightheartedness. Okay, so that's a big thing, because when we're looking at Sagittarius and Gemini, those energies, it can, if Sagittarius starts to get too serious, it can cause an imbalance, right? So you always want to keep that kind of flexibility, that playfulness is what it's saying, because the answer to your happiness is always going to be found in playfulness. But remember, it's going to be found, you have to focus in on a path, what is calling to you. And that's what this is saying. So whatever direction of life, for each of you, this is going to be applied to different areas of life. But remember, it has to feel right emotionally. But you definitely have to pick a direction and go with it, and not kind of dilute your mental and emotional energy in too many different directions. So really what this is all about is, it's about focused energy, but making sure that we're not getting too serious, and we're able to allow ourselves to still be, choose the path that is um playful for us, and that is inspiring us emotionally and mentally. Okay, and that's what this is all about. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. In North Node in Capricorn and or the 10th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Ace of Pentacles reversed, and I feel like the first half of September there's going to be themes for each of you that is going to be revolving around. It could be like money, finances, things of value in our life. So physical, tangible things. Property of some sort. Okay, but also other things of value like our time and our energy, and other things of value like our relationships. But anything of value, both physical and non-physical, is going to be a big thing. And I feel like there's going to be like some like positive breakthroughs when it comes to this, and kind of like this new adventure that is going to happen, which is like a change in direction, which is going to be ultimately a positive thing. Let's look at your timeline. We'll get some more clarity. So you've got the Fool card upright. You've got the Nine of Cups upright, and you've got the Tower card upright. Now, the Nine of Cups and the Tower both together, I always like to talk about the Tower because some people, get afraid of it, right? And what this is saying in conjunction with the Nine of Cups is, the Nine of Cups being the wish card, the emotional wish card, is that I feel like there is a lot of things regarding money and finances and things of value in your life. There might have been this kind of stagnation over time. And I feel like there's going to be this like change in direction. The Tower card is about, change, something that is happening that, like when you see the Tower card, if someone won the lottery or something to that, I'm not saying that's predicting that, but I'm saying that it would be something to where the Tower card might come up in a reading. That's the energy. It's like all of a sudden quick change, or someone, gets an inheritance. And yes, sometimes the Tower means like a change that's like unwelcome, but I always look at, the cards around it in the reading, the overall thing. And I think that what this is talking about is, do you have, emotional wishes and dreams that you are holding dear to you, and there could have been some stagnation regarding, money and finances for the longest time. And so I feel like there's this change that's finally, happening. One of the things that the Tower can mean is like the idea of, let's say someone's working for a company, and the company, goes out of business for some reason. They're working for this big corporation, or they move out of state, and they all of a sudden find themselves without a job, right? So at first it's like this shock to the system, like, oh my gosh, this came out of nowhere, what am I going to do? But then they realize that they actually got a better job with more money, because of this happening. That's the type of energy that I'm seeing, that this change is coming, but it's going to be a positive change ultimately, even if it is kind of a shock to the system. And so that I always look at the cards surrounding this, and this is definitely going to be something positive. Now, what is that change? I think for some of you, it could just be this realization of, you know, I'm going to take this idea. It could be an idea coming in, or it could be you making this change, or the change just kind of happening. We'll get some more clarity. We'll look at your advice cards here. So you've got the Magician card reversed, and you've got the Queen of Cups upright. I think that this change is happening because of, it's you having most of you are having this realization that there's a certain area of your life that may have been, like, you thought it was something, but this aspect of your life was fooling you in some way, and it was uh, tricking you into believing that, that this was more important than it actually was, type of a thing. So the reason I say that is because when we look at the Magician card, one of the things is when it's reversed, it could be this like kind of trickster or con man type energy, and it could refer to a literal person, or it can refer to, sometimes we con ourselves into believing something, and then once we realize, like someone realizes their own worth, or they realize that there's this new direction, the Tower, right, this new awakening, they're realizing, wow, like I can't believe, like I thought I was fooling myself, I was tricking myself. And so it's this type of an energy where there's this realization. For some of you, it could actually be like, maybe you figure out that someone around you, like you're working for someone that isn't honest or something to that effect. But it's whatever this is freeing up the stagnation of things of value in your life. Like this is about you being able to go in a new direction when it comes to money, finances, or anything of value, in your life. And it's going to be this positive change, and you're going to see this somewhere within the first half of September. But just realize that this change is going to be good. Now, why did the Queen of Cups come in? Well, this is referring to your South Node, because essentially where this is all going to lead is it's leading you to a more comfortable place, and your South Node in Cancer, or the fourth house, is going to help you. It's like, essentially, you're going to be more at home in your life, more not at home, but you're going to be more at home with your life, type of a thing, where it's going to feel more, this change is going to feel more comfortable, and the change is necessary. This stagnation that was happening kind of needed to come to the surface and be kind of led away, and it's going to lead you to a kind of a better place. And this whole, like, trickster energy or being fooled was because this is also, it can be like thinking something was a certain way, and then finding out that it wasn't that way again. And it's like, it's kind of like pulling the mask off, or opening, seeing the wizard behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz type of a thing. So it's like this unveiling and seeing things for how they really are, which again can be, kind of like a shock to the system, but ultimately it's going to be leading you to a positive, place, and ultimately kind of getting you emotionally to where you want to be in life. And so that is always positive. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Aquarius and or the 11th house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out for you is the King of Swords. And this card is one of the cards that's referring to your North Node in Aquarius, because all of the swords rule the air signs. Aquarius, is one of them. So this card is for the 11th house, and also for Aquarius. What's interesting is I have to talk about this card in conjunction with your first timeline card, which is the Justice card reversed. But if you look at these two cards, they're very similar in a way, because you see these, two men sitting on a throne, both holding up a sword. And then, of course, the Justice card has the scales of justice. This card is really ruled by Libra, okay, another air sign, and this one Aquarius. And what I see here is, I see that there are changes that are going on and have been going on within you, where you are refining who you are as a person. You're stepping more into what it means to be an Aquarius North Node, and what it means to be, or North Node in the 11th house, what that means. And what you're learning is that it's something that was different than what you thought, okay? What you thought it would had to be, and what you had to be in order to do that. For example, like these two extremes is, you might have thought like, well, being an Aquarius North Node, I have to give up, who I am at my core level in order to step into this. It doesn't feel right. Like I feel like this Leo energy in my South Node in the 5th house. I'm losing part of myself, which is talking about this Judgment card. Like I have to make a choice between, stepping into this new person and giving up the old. And that's what you're learning, is that's not the case. That what you're doing is you are just simply adding. And I'm seeing this energy a lot this month, where people are realizing they're really leveling up and stepping into their power, and realizing that when they step into the newness of who they're supposed to become, they're not losing the old self. They're just adding, enhancing of who they once were, in order to become this kind of new energy. And that's a big theme that I'm seeing here for you, which is, you're learning what it means to stand in your power as an Aquarius North Node, or a North Node in the 11th house. And as I said, this Justice card reversed is saying you're realizing you don't have to choose between one or the other. You have both, but you're just adding two. Now, your other timeline cards are, you've got the Wheel of Fortune reversed, and you've got the Queen of Cups reversed. The Wheel of Fortune is a good card to get when it's reversed, because the wheel always wants to turn upright for our best and highest good. When it's reversed, it's something to where it's in the process. Like you are in the process right now, the beginning of September, of transforming your life and getting to a better place. Okay, so you're in this transition phase. And what's happening when you're doing this is that there could be, I feel like this Queen of Cups is saying that there, when you're doing this process, there could be someone or some people around you that are not helping the process, okay? Because all of the court cards, the king card, queen, knight, and page, can be actual people in our life. They can represent people, or they can represent energies. In this case, I feel like this is representing an actual person or maybe multiple people. And what I mean by that is what's really hard a lot of times when people change and transform, a really weird phenomenon happens where people that have known them for some reason get really uncomfortable. Like, I've always known, Jim to be like this, and all of a sudden, he's changing. And they're doing this not even on purpose, but it's like on a very like subconscious level, and they don't like that change because they're used to you being a certain way, or they're like, well, Marla has always been this way, and why am I can't accept her like this. And as I said, they're not even consciously doing it, but they're just like, we want people to stay the same no matter who they are. And so that's one of the real difficult parts of transforming, is the people around us. And I feel like that's something that you're going to be dealing with this first half of September, because you're making these changes. And I feel like there's going to be a person or people around you that are going to make that change difficult. And that's why, the Wheel of Fortune is not quite turned upright yet. Okay. So it's going to, how do you navigate that? Well, what you have to do is you just have to hold your ground. You have to be strong within yourself and realize what it is you need to do as you're changing and transforming. And so it's a difficult thing, but remember, always make the changes that you need to make, that you feel are right. And no matter how, whatever anyone else says, okay, if you feel that the changes you're making within yourself and your life are correct, always go with that. Okay. And don't stress about the people that are around you that are, maybe trying to keep you the same. Now, your two advice cards are, you've got the Tower card and you've got the 10 of Wands reversed. What this is saying is that I feel like once and for all, like, something is going to happen in this first half of September, to where there's going to be this like realization, and that's where this Tower card's coming in. I feel like it's going to be this internal realization where you're going to get some clarity that's going to come in into your life. And this is going to have this effect of unburdening you, because like I feel like one of the reasons why that the wheel is not turned upright and you haven't fully stepped into this like new self, is because you're carrying some burdens that could have been from people expecting certain things from you, or people expecting your life to be a certain way. And I feel like this is going to really kind of be ended this middle of September, for sure by the middle of September. And this is going to have this effect of unburdening you. Like, yes, I can be who I truly want to be. And it's like throwing off these burdens off of you. That's what I feel like. But it's like this kind of aha moment where you're going to finally realize that that could be in a situation that happens with you in your life, a conversation with somebody, or just this all of a sudden this realization. And really, you're going to see that this transformation that's happening within you is something that is going to kind of lead you to kind of the highest version of yourself. And always remember, when you're transforming, you're not leaving the old self behind. What you're doing is you're enhancing the old self, and you're making the old self better and more balanced. And so you don't have to choose between, this and that. All you're doing is you're adding this and becoming something, better, a better version of yourself than you were before. That's how we step into our power. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Pisces and or the 12th house. Interesting. The theme card that popped out for you is the reversed Knight of Swords. And one of the meanings of this card, because all of the knights are cards of movement because they show horses, and the quickest of all the knights is the Knight of Swords. And one of the meanings of this card is like a changing direction, or stopping a certain direction. It's like literally you could think of the phrase "hold your horses." Like whoa, like slow down, right? And what this is really saying is that there's an area of your life where, and I'm feeling like it's has to do mentally and emotionally in your life, where you're being asked to uh, take a look at the direction, maybe see are you going in a proper direction as far as like thinking and feeling. And this is saying like really kind of analyze that. Now remember, the eclipses this month in September are happening in Pisces and Virgo. So anyone with a lot of strong Virgo and Pisces energy um, are going to be really affected by these eclipses, right? And so this is a very transformative time for you, especially. Now, I'm feeling like this is more kind of like mental thought processes that this card is saying that result in emotional processes. And it's saying like this is a time to kind of like clean house and check where you're going, like mentally, and where is that leading you emotionally. And I feel like for a lot of you, you may have during this first half of September, some changes in like thinking and emotions and in direction. So it's kind of like you can think of, again, we're going to talk about your Virgo South Node cleaning house, but mentally and emotionally. Let's get some more clarity. We'll look at your timeline card. So you've got the Two of Swords upright. You've got the Star card upright, and you've got the Queen of Wands reversed. So starting with the Two of Swords, okay, upright. You can see on this card that this is about where do we need to you know block our emotions and our intuitions? Where do we need to kind of think more and use our logical side? Okay, so this is a great representation of, do we Pisces or do we Virgo? Okay, there's that whole aspect, and that's what the big question is that when because too much intuition, too much getting into our the spiritual side of life can lead to a lot of confusion. Too much Pisces energy, and again like too much Virgo energy can lead to not seeing things or trusting our own intuition. So that's the huge thing right now of what's happening. Is this is about, like, this first half of September is about reevaluating where you are, both mentally and emotionally, and also spiritually. What does your intuition say? But also, what does your logical mind say? Okay, and that's what this card is like, when do we focus on our intuitive Pisces side, or our Virgo logical side? Okay, and that's something that's going to be a big theme. And the way to realize that is, I feel like you're going to realize, for each of you it's going to be different, but you're going to realize where that balance is for you in particular. And that's why there's this change of directions. For some of you, you're going to find like, wow, I've really been kind of like maybe going too heavy on the Pisces side, the 12th house side. And then for others of you, it's going to be like, yeah, I really need to make some adjustments and kind of calm down that kind of, Virgo 6th house energy in my life. Now, the Star card is a beautiful card to get into a reading, because this is a card of, karma, of leveling up. It's a karma of the magic of life, of synchronicities. And this is a time to where, when you get this card in a reading, it's saying that this is an opportunity to really kind of level up your life and get more on path than you ever have before. And so it's that important, but it's this card of connection, because when you have a north node in Pisces and or the 12th house, it's about connection to all that is, connection to everything in the universe, okay? But the interesting thing about the star is, she has one foot in the pool of the unconscious, and she has, one leg on land, okay, which would be the solid ground of, the earth energy of practical Virgo, okay? So this is a card that's representing that you can do both. You need a balance between that kind of Virgo Pisces energy. Now, the Queen of Wands reversed is saying that a big tell for you in this, which is interesting, is about to monitor your physical energy. In other words, you have the ability, anybody that has this kind of Pisces Virgo polarity, have the ability to check in with yourself intuitively through your energy and through your body. Like you get signals that way. And that what this is saying is you're going to know the direction to take, where to make changes through the energy. What is giving you energy? What is taking away your energy? That type of a thing. And so checking in with your body. This is part of what we forget a lot of times when we think of intuition. We just think of like, the third eye or being psychic or whatever. Or, we don't really think about how our actual physical bodies are connected to the universe, and they're like antennas. And so you're being asked to check in with your energy. What is your energy telling you intuitively? And that's part of this whole, like, guidance of where to go, what direction to take. Now, your two advice cards, you've got the 10 of Wands reversed, and you've got the Magician reversed. The 10 of Wands is saying that what's happening really this first half of September is when you have this kind of adjustment and change of direction in certain area or areas of your life, there's going to be this unburdening process that happens where essentially when you're going to be on the right path, when you feel slightly unburdened about something. So think of it this way. We've all experienced where all of a sudden we've done something differently or thought about something differently, and or made some changes within our life, and at the end result we felt less burdened. Like we've all gone through that, where we feel like, wow, I feel like I can breathe. I feel like, I feel better in a way, and I just feel some burdens have been lifted off of us. We've all felt that. That's something that you want to check in. And again, with that whole, we have Wands here, and you've got the Queen of Wands reversed. Check in with your body. If you are going in a direction and it feels burdensome to you, that's a signal that that might not be the right thing. If you take another direction and you feel like more free and unburdened, that's the signal of where you want to go. That's what I'm talking about as far as like really kind of checking in with your body energy. And then this Magician, reversed is interesting because the Magician reverse, one of the meanings of it is it's a misuse of energy or a misuse of power. And what that's something that we sometimes see where we're either like not using the energy that we have properly or our skills. So it's a misuse of our personal power or skills, or we're either not using it enough or we're using it in the wrong direction. And essentially what you're doing here during this process of the first half of September is you're honing in on where to place your energy, where to place your thoughts, where to place your emotions, and make these adjustments. And so it's not that you even are misusing it on purpose. It's like we can misuse our personal energy and our skills and our personal power without even realizing it. And so part of this is that you're going to realize during this process of the first half of September Okay, I see what I was doing before, and I see that I'm going in this different direction now, and I'm using my personal power in a better, more efficient, proper way, which is enhancing my life. And so that's something to just be aware of, that it's something that we do unconsciously, but you're going to become conscious of how you're using your personal power and your energy, and it's part of all of this. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like to show the channel some love, there's going to be some links in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings.